Welcome to Hide and Seek TV. It's your boy Hide and Seek, and I'm about to get ready to delve into the New York City drill scene. You know, I used to be out there staying out in 155th area out in the Bronx. I was all throughout New York. I was up in Syracuse, Southside Syracuse, by the mall, by Butternut Street, all up in there, and East Buffalo, Rochester. Albany, a lot of places, But I want to just delve into this, man, and delve into a lot of these things to know how, like I mentioned in the previous video with the Chicago drill scene, like I was saying, all of this stuff is just Freemasonry. When you understand how the Freemasons, they infiltrate, real people's lives, and they set up their plants, they set up their agents to influence real people, and it's very important to know how all this stuff operates. So when you obviously understand the Freemasons use their hand gestures, you see what I'm saying? So as it's written in James 5:12, but above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by the earth, neither by any oath, any other oath, but let your yea be yea, and your nay, nay, lest ye fall into condemnation. So, making no oaths. So what those devils do, they make their Masonic blood oaths. So that's why it says in Ephesians 4:14 that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. So you see, they send in their agents to get real people, to fall by the sword so they can do their sacrifices. So those devils, how they set up their blood sacrifice rituals, as it's written in Ezekiel 18:20, the soul that sinneth, it shall not die. It shall die. Because, the wages of sin is death. So what they try to do is they try to get people to, they get real people involved in these things so they can make them lose that faith and lose that connection to the Father via the Son of God, so that they can go to work on them. Then they can do their sacrifices. So, the soul that sinneth shall die, because as it's written, I chastise those I love. The wages of sin is death. So that's why they love to set up those things. People get caught up in something they didn't know it was this deep, and then now they ain't nothing but a victim. So you see nothing but Freemason hand gestures, 666. So I'm going to go into this right quick too, because this is something we see all the time, and I'm going to show a couple pictures. But then it says in Ezekiel 8:17, then he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Is it a light thing to the house of Judah that they commit the abominations which they commit here? For they have filled the land with violence and have returned to provoke me to anger. And lo, they put the branch to their nose. So, the branch, as it's written, represents the Son of God. In Zechariah 6:12, as it's written, the branch is the man, who should build the house of the Lord. So, they like to put that branch to their nose because they know the whole thing goes into how it's written that the Messiah will stand upon the altars with his 144,000. So he has to climb. He has to walk up the altar with his 144,000. So that goes into that trying to hinder him from being able to breathe. They want to block the breath of life. Reject Christ. So you see that whole thing. How K Flock, you see that whole thing throwing up the 666. Why he's doing the branch symbology. You see that K Flock, you see how he look at him doing nothing but Masonic gestures. And as you can see, he's wearing the Louis Vuitton, because they love that Louis Vuitton blasphemy, because as it's written, when you translate praise the Lord, it becomes Louis Eternal. So, hallelujah. Holly means to praise, Louis Eternal Yah. So you see, they love to do that Louis Vuitton blasphemy, throwing up their Masonic hand gestures. Real people in reality wouldn't just sit there and think of, hey, let's do this sign over and over again. Let's stand this specific position. Let's throw up a certain hand sign with our hands. Or, no real person going to think like that. 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 18-year-olds, they're not going to think like that. They just get influenced and told how to do so. Hey, you got to stand this way. Hey, you got to do this gesture. Because it's all just Masonic training. you know, trying to set up people as sacrifices. Then in the news, what do? Oh, he was a young, young man, 18 years old, man. He was a young man, good child, and they just used them, set them up, and just sacrifice them so they can advance in their craft. So you see NLE Chopper throwing it up, young boy doing the nose, the branch to the nose symbology. Just wanted to show that right quick. And you see more Masonic hand gestures with the K Flock. So you see he's throwing up the L, because when you understand that L is very important, because that L just goes right into the scepter. It goes right into the rod of God. So it goes right into that whole theme of the plow, the rod of God. So that's why they love to throw out those L's, blaspheming, So that's why even, one of the ones who is close, connected with the K Flock, you see, you got Devin Mason. You see that? They had to have the name Mason, And you see, they said Mason was one of the ones who shot a rival gang member, So they had to have that Mason. They had to have that right there, you know what I'm saying? See the Chef G and Sleepy Hollow throwing up the Masonic gestures. You see, they love doing that covering the mouth. They like to say, we keep code, be silent, you know what I'm saying? Stay in oath, stay in the silence, Remain loyal. So you see, you got Chef G and Sleepy Hollow. That Sleepy Hollow is a super wicked name, because that just goes straight up. As it's written, hallowed be thy name. And they want to keep the people sleepy. As it's written, my name will be revealed through their blasphemy in Isaiah 52, 5-6. Because they blaspheme my name all day long. Therefore, my name should be made known in the last days. So you see that hollow goes into the hallowed be thy name. And then that sleepy, they want to just put people back to sleep. They want to keep people in darkness and not in understanding, being able to see. They don't want the awakening to happen. Or they want to just keep hindering people from awakening more so. So that's why that Chef G, notice he's the Michael, because Michael means the one like God. And then, the Williams is his last name, because in Exodus 3:14, as it's written, the I am that I am, the will of God. The will of I am that I am, the will of God. Remember that God told Moses, tell him, Israel, that I am sent you. So that goes into the William, the will of God, the I am that I am. And then Michael means the one like God. And then you got Sleepy Hollow, whose name is Chambers. So you understand the chambers, that goes right into the altars, as it's written, in that day there should be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord, and there should be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ. So how you have Michael Williams, and then you got Sleepy Hollow, and his name is the Chambers. You see? And that's why they have the crypt, because they love doing that crypting, because that crypt just goes right into the chamber. It goes right into the crypt, the king's chamber of the Lord within the altars. So that's why they like to do that crypt walk blasphemy, because they already know that crypt. It goes to the whole theme of how the Messiah goes inside of his chamber, walking through the altars, the crypt walk. So that's why they love mocking and blaspheming with all of that, That's why in Psalms 19:5, as it's written, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. So you see, let's look at the names, of Chef G and his crew. So obviously you got the Chambers. You see, you got Chambers. You got Nicholas Heaven at number 12. You see the Nicholas Heaven. You got number 18, Dean Jean Lewis. You see the Lewis at number 18, right under Heaven. Come on, man. And then you got, let's see how many Williams, from 28 through 31. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 Williams. Come on, man. All day long they blaspheme the name, these Freemasons. That's why you see 22 G's. Notice that's more G's. So you got Chef G, 22 G. Notice a lot of them use the G name because they go right into the Masonic G. finding their inner God, unlocking their Masonic path, to try to climb higher. That's why he had the song with Kodak Black, remember, Spin the Block, because that spinning that block goes into how they want to reject the stone of God, the Lewis stone. Christ is the headstone that they reject, as it's written in Psalms 118:22. The stone which the builders, the masons, refuses now become the headstone of the corner. So they reject that headstone. As you can see, there's no headstone on top of their Masonic pyramid, just the all-seeing eye, because they, as it's written, that the headstone measured at 76 degrees foreshadow the kingdom to come. So they do this all day long, and they stage everything so that people think it's real. It's real, but it's not really real. That's why in the book of Exodus, chapter 34, verse 19, it says, "Those who come out the matrix are mine own." So I'll be doing I'm gonna do an upstate New York breakdown too, with the scene up that way as well. I delve into that side as well. Because I'm gonna do this just New York City version. I'm gonna do the upstate as well, upstate New York. But you see, like Buffalo and all of that, different places. But I'm gonna play this. This is the No Suburban. I mean, it's old, but it's just all set up. Because when you understand that Suburban, it go into that car. So that Karas, like I was explaining, the word Christ derives from Karas, which means the anointed one. So Christ is the anointed one. Christ is the Greek way, the Greek translation of Karas. Karas, the Ka means soul, Ra means light, and Israel. So the Karas, the christening, the anointed one, the Kara. That's why they saying no suburban, because as it's written in Isaiah 19:19 through 20, "In that day there should be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord. And there should be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt. For they should cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a Savior, a great one, and he shall deliver them." So that goes into that caravan, that caravan, that suburban, the Exodus. So that's why he said no suburban. Excuse the language, but notice what they say. See that bend the block, that go to reject Christ. Here it is. I'ma send them shots with her. Look, nigga, money pile, they be hurting. Have my loc slide down and burn them. You say they have my loc slide and burn them. So they want to send as many people to hell as possible. Then you throw up the 666 after he say he bend the block. Big bullets glide out and curl them. Put a great flag, put it working. Catching with the L's that we tote. See, catching with the L's that we tote, because they want to be the ones who they want to keep trying to make sure that the saints, don't hold those palm branches in their hands when the Exodus fulfills. As it's written, there be a great crowd amongst the 144,000 holding the palm branches. So they want to keep rejecting. They want to be the whole ones who hold the rod. They want to be the ones who are their own gods. Let them demons out in a joke. Catch them walking around with no pole. Have my hollows bobbing his coat. See that? Watch them walk around with let them demons out ain't no joke. Watch them walk around with no pole, because they don't want the Messiah holding that rod. That bring the law of Zion. That bring the rod of correction. So you see that. All of that stuff connected, back in ignorance, we didn't know what that was talking about, So blessing to know what's going on. So you see even more gangs. Notice you got another Lewis right there. Joel Lewis. You see it right here? Over and over again. Then look at, the Wu and the Chose. So, Wu versus the Chose. The Pop Smoke, the Wu versus the Chose. So you see you obviously got the temple name in the Wu. You got to have temple, because that just goes to the chamber, the altar. And then you got on the Chose, you got another chambers. And you got Levi. Levi just goes into the Moses, dealing with the tribe of Levi of Israel. They're dealing with the priesthood, and then Levi just derives from Lewis. So you got Princess Chambers. You got Levi at number 15, Levi Alexis, and then at 18 you got King. You see? Over and over again. So even during the time of Bobby Shmurda way back then, 2013, 14, remember you remember GS9, you see they had Luciano. You see? Hint the Lou. So let's look at the names. So you see they had Rowdy Rebel, they said he lived on Williams Street. You see Williams Avenue. And then you got Bobby Shmurda, you see they say he lived at 672 Ocean Avenue. So like I was explaining before, 7-6 is it foreshadows the kingdom to come. The 7 a number of spirit, 6 a number of flesh. So the Masons like to counteract that. So they like to put flesh above the heavens. So they like to do the 6-7. They want to use 6, put flesh before heaven, before the 7. So that's why he got the 6-7 Ocean. And then you see he's born 8/4/94. So he's born on Obama's birthday. Remember, I've been showing it for the longest. While Obama is the Antichrist. That's why he was the only president to enter inside the pyramids. Because in 2 Thessalonians 2:4, as it's written, the Antichrist would go inside the altars of the Lord and declare himself God. That's why he went inside of there blaspheming. I showed the videos, a while back on other videos. So you see as well, let's go down. So you see right there too, they even have a Delroy Edwards. That's a part of the GS9. Because in Joshua 22:34, as it's written, that the altar, that the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben, they named the altar Ed, that it should testify that the Lord is God. So you see, you even got the Edwards involved, because Edwards, the Ed deals with the testifying that the Lord is God. I can even read it right quick for those who are not really familiar. So let me go to it right quick. And the children of Reuben and children of Gad called the altar Ed, for it should be a witness between us that the Lord is God. So that's why you see where they used to be dealing with the Church Avenue, So they love doing that, shooting up cars. Why they had those conspiracies where they shooting up cars, all those gangs, because that go into how the Most High is the most holy one. So that holy, that goes into the holy. So they like to put the holes, the bullet holes in the car, dealing with Kara. He's not the holy one, so we just like to shoot up cars, leave them holy instead, blaspheming, And that's why they love doing it at the traffic light. I catch him at the light type of talk. They love catching them at the light because as it's written in John 8:12, then spake Yahushua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. You see? So that's why they be waiting for that light to turn green to go. Be still and wait upon the Lord at the red, the blood of Christ, and then the green tell you to go, because in Revelation 4:3, as it's written, the holy kingdom of Judah, the holy kingdom of heaven, the holy kingdom of Judah is as emerald in Revelation 4:3. So that's why green make you go and red make you stop, because that red, that goes into the whole theme of the blood of Christ. Being purified, being covered in the blood of Christ, being still and waiting upon the Lord before the car can go. And it's the incarnations. We are incarnations. We are in bodies, with a soul. So that's why it said, that's why they love doing that, shooting up the car, So it's very important. That's why they have the Brooklyn Bridge, because when you understand that Brooklyn Bridge, it all goes into that bridge. Christ is our bridge. But Brooklyn just goes into that broken land, That's why they used to call it New Jerusalem. So, that broken land, they want to leave Zion broken up, Messiah leading to a broken land, leading nowhere, no fulfillment of the kingdom. And then that's why it has the Flatbush, because when you understand that Flatbush, You know, it goes to that whole blasphemy where Moses saw the burning bush. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush, and looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. So it goes into all of that, you know. Super satanic stuff, how they operate. So like I said, I'm in that here. I got more coming. I'll be covering more cities. You know, obviously I got Detroit, where I'm from, where I was born and raised at Detroit. You know, I'm going to do LA. I mean, a lot of cities, Atlanta, a lot of different places, you know. Keep on covering Boston, a lot of places, even international cities. So it's very important to know how all this stuff is, you know, it's really fulfilling, man. We got to just stay, you know, stay in tune, stay in prayer, and just keep treading forward, you know. Studying to show ourselves approved. So thank you. Peace be with you. I'll be back with another video.